Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Monster, and today we are going to be talking about the Focal Stellia. It is a fairly new, I believe it was released in February of 2019, closeback, top of the line closeback. It retails for $3,000. All right, so let's get into this straight away. The first thing you will notice is the looks of it. It's different. Focal is calling it cognac and mocha. I call it brown on brown. Some people like the look, some people hate the looks. I'm kind of indifferent to it. I don't really care what a headphone looks like within reason. But I personally would not have chosen this color scheme. So the next thing you'll notice about the Focal Stellia is this thing just oozes luxury. Just everything. Let's start with the headband. This is real leather, super soft, luxurious leather. And then there's a little tag right here, and it says it's in French, and I'm not going to try to pronounce what this says. Coiffure plein fleur. I don't speak French too good. The yoke is aluminum. And then the pads are super soft leather type or leather material. This thing is just feels and looks luxurious. So it also comes with a carrying case. When you open it up, and you'll see right there, it has a place for your cables and then your headphones. And this is a very nice kind of a cloth covered but still hard case. It comes with two cables, single-ended and balanced, and I'll get into the cables in a little bit more. Then it comes with a book, and it's embossed right there. It says Focal, and then there it says Stellia. And you open the book up, and then there's more leather. And inside here, you have some literature and buyer's guide and all this other really fancy, nice stuff. And then, but wait, there's more. Then it comes, you put everything inside this rather large box. So this is what you get for $3,000. This is a pretty nice setup, to be honest. It's very luxurious. Nothing about the build quality seems to be compromised. About the cables. Now you have a single-ended cable, and then you've got, as I mentioned, you've got a balance cable. Now the balance cable is 10 feet long. The single-ended cable is clearly meant to be used from a mobile device because it's only 5 feet, and unless you are literally right on top of your amp, you're not really going to be able to use the single-ended cable. I mean, my listening station's back there. My amp is right to my right. If I try to lean back, I can't do it. So I was fortunate that my amp has a balanced input, and so I used the longer cable. So that is something that you should be aware of. Now, as far as the comfort goes, I would say that these are pretty comfortable. If I'm going to nitpick something about the comfort, I would say that these do have a little bit more clamp than what I prefer, namely down here. they're not at all uncomfortable. I just would prefer a little less clamp down under here. Now on the top, there's a nice thick foam padding down there, so it rests on your head and it doesn't bother me at all. Okay, so the Stellia has the same beryllium driver as the Focal Utopia. Now, before I go any farther, let me just say that I have not spent a tremendous amount of time with the Utopia, but I have read plenty of people comparing the two. These are, in addition to the beryllium driver, they have a 35 ohms with a 106 sensitivity, so they are very, very easy to drive. So how do these sound? Pretty damn good. I love these headphones. The bass, let's start with the bass. The bass extends very deep and it's very present. I test sub bass with a couple tracks and these did not disappoint at all. I love the bass response. The mid bass seems to have a bit of an emphasis and it slams really hard. It's not overly done, it's not a bass headphone, but you can tell that there's a little extra bass in there. Fantastic bass. The vocals seem to be pushed back a bit, and then guitars are brought up a little bit. So you get a really nice 3D holographic image. Drums tend to roll back behind your head, not too unlike the ZMF Verite, but not quite as deep as the Verite. Okay, so the highs, I've looked at the graphs, and there seems to be a pretty significant peak at 6K, and then it kind of drops down at around 9, which leads to a bit of extra energy in the upper mids, lower highs. Again, I have read people who think that these are too bright, and I don't find any semblance or peakiness whatsoever. It adds a lot of detail, but it's not forced down your throat. It's not overly emphasized. The staging on it is not particularly massive width-wise, but it does come out to a certain amount past your head. Lots of height. And like I said before, there's a really nice sense of three-dimensionality to it. Very impactful, very dynamic, good layering, very good speed. Pretty much anything that you would want from a $3,000 headphone, you're going to get with this thing. This thing, to my ears, and in my system, sounds absolutely fantastic. Now again, I haven't spent a lot of time with the Utopia, but I have read a lot of people have trouble with the brightness of the Utopia. Supposedly this isn't as bright. And again, I hear a little bit of a boost, but it's not piercing. So, if you've heard the Utopia and you liked it except for that extra energy, you might like this. The beryllium driver in this headphone tends to give off a bit of a metallic taste to it. A bit. It's not overly obvious until, like for instance, when I compare it to the ZMF Verite, which is also beryllium, but it's beryllium coated, and this is pure beryllium. And when you go back and forth, you can hear that little metallic edge in this that you don't get in the Verite. So that is also something just to be slightly aware of. If you're really one of these people that likes a super organic, lush sounds, then that metallic flavor might throw you off a bit with this headphone. Every genre of music I've tried, I loved with it. It is really, really good with string instruments. Violins have this really just natural, creamy, flowing texture to them. It's really, I don't listen to a lot of violin music, but I happened to stumble across a few while I was checking it out, and it really caught my attention. Great texture, as I said before, great dynamics. So, trance, rock, blues, pretty much every single genre I tried with the Stellia, I loved it. I just thought it was a fantastic sounding headphone. I would go as far as to say that this is probably the best closed back headphone that I've ever heard. And behind the Verite, my second favorite headphone I've ever heard. I really like this headphone quite a bit. And I would buy it, except, you remember that DAC that I had on review, that I had on loan last video? I bought one. So I told you I would keep you guys up to speed. I did buy one. I don't have it yet. It's being built. So I don't have any money. But if I did have money, this would be the first headphone that I would look at, because it's a nice complement to what I already own. It's brighter than the Verite, but it has a lot of the same characteristics that I like in a headphone. The dynamics, the staging, the depth, the musicality. I really like this headphone quite a bit. So if you have any questions or comments, please drop a message. And at this time, I would also like to thank Todd from Todd the Vinyl Junkie for sending this out on a tour. I think his tours are really fantastic for the community, and without him, a lot of us would never get to hear this stuff. So again, thank you, Todd. Anyway, this has been Monster, and I will catch you guys again next time. See ya.